This morning we finally got the roof on our commander's house at Fort Hoskins, which basically culminates a story, at least for me, that began in 1976. And when I first conducted excavations at the site here, the Fort Hoskins site, and back in the 70s, in our wildest imagination, this is not something I would have foreseen, that we could have actually found an original structure and get it back here on the site.
It will be something that children and adults can look at and say, oh, this is real history. This actually happened. I don't have to imagine it.
When we go to move a historical building like this, the first thing that we like to do is come in and do an evaluation of the structure, how it was built, what's holding it together. On this building, obviously we didn't have the option to move it in one piece because of utilities, so there's a lot more going into this move because we have to split the top, crane the top off, and move it in two pieces.
If we can get up and take a shot of the exposed flue up there, you'll see how the brick was laid just in a staggered manner to have the chimney at the center of the peak, yet the fireplace is offset here, so kind of a unique way to construct.
Dr. David Bronner, the archaeologist at Oregon State University, as a young man about 30 years ago, came out with his students and started doing historical inch-by-inch investigation of the site, and was able to locate the original situations for the buildings, and has always been and continues to be the driving force into saving the park itself, and obviously returning this house, which they learned about early on, to its site.
Getting this house up to the parade ground of Fort Hoskins was an effort that began about 5 years ago, when we knew that the family that owned the house was willing to give it up. They wanted to build a new structure on their property, and we were given the opportunity, Benton County Parks was given the opportunity to acquire the house for $1, and all we needed to do was move it, which seemed very simple 5 years ago. But as we began to look into the logistics and the costs, it became a much more complex project.
The funds were not available, but in the last couple years, the urgency to acquire this house and save it became forefront. Benton County, of course, itself the government agency, worked very hard to try to solicit the funds, and then private folks such as ourselves came in to spread the word about the importance of saving the house because time was of the essence. And so a citizens group who became the Alliance for Recreation and Natural Areas was formed last spring. For this particular project was to spread the word throughout the county and the state about the house and to save it from demolition and to return it to its actual site here at the park.
And whenever we start off with a building, the hardest part is getting it off its current location, because it's dug in. It has a pad that's been sitting on for who knows how many years, and it's just getting it off all that dirt, getting it onto something that's solid that we can then get the trucks moving.
Okay, you guys ready? Hey, Wayne!
That looks really good.
Come on down, straight down. 2 inches back here.
That looks really good.
Wait, we're touching on the 8s. We got to put 2 inches in here. Hold him up. Huh? Okay, I like that.
Well, you know, we stopped to make
I guess you start early, so by daylight we want to be moving, and of course, you know, we've did this before, so everybody knows exactly what to do. So as far as the turns, I mean, when it comes tight quarters, then we have a guide out in front telling you left or right or whatever. But other than that, you're pretty much, you can about judge where you need to go. I mean, down the middle of the road or whatever, so you clear this or clear that.
As a outside observer watching the move, it was an astounding exposition of applied physics from the time that they prepared the house for the 8-mile move out here to Fort Hoskins from Peedee, and then watching the getting it here on the roads was really a slam dunk. There was no real issues or problems. So I think the most interesting part of this little journey was when we went past the Welcome to Benton County sign. And yes, the fort's back, or the house is back.
We watched it come. It got stopped here at the bottom of the hill, and then the county hosted a big celebration with the Civil War reenactors, representative of the Siletz Indian tribes, and obviously county commissioners and parks people. And we were all ecstatic to have it here. It's been worked on for years and years and years.
And many of the reenactors here that you're going to see are with the Northwest Civil War Council.
Clear the hubs.
Our house goes over the side.
The truck goes down there.
Yeah, right.
If we just go back in time 1 week, we had no rain. I think it was a record, 81 days with no rain in this area. And when we moved, it rained that weekend prior to and that week of. So getting it up the hill, we had a muddy, it was just sloppy, sludgy. Trying to get up there, we had our 2 winch trucks, just couldn't get it up on that Sunday.
Yeah, today's going to be the day. That's for sure. Well, we've lost 2 days due to the weather, to the rain. What we have here is the conditions so bad with the mud that we have plenty of pulling power with the winch trucks, but we can't maneuver them up here in the mud. So we can't change to get the right angles to get this up the hill. So what we're going to do is bring in about a 30,000 pound machine to pull our trucks around, get them in the right spot, use it as an anchor. Today we'll have the building at the top of the hill. I'm pretty confident in that. There's our machine showing up right now.
Right now, we've got it just the way we like it. Sun's out, not raining, ready to do our thing.
This hill has provided some interesting challenges, so I'm hoping by the end of the day this house is sitting up here. We'll see.
We're going to start bringing her up the hill. We're tightening up our lines. We've got 5 lines. We're going to start bringing it up the hill.
But getting it to the base of the fort and having to come up a relatively steep slope to bring it back up on the parade ground, that proved to be a 3-day operation. But once again, watching the movers using cables and pulleys and applied physics and just an incredible amount of background knowledge that these men have, I was astounded.
Should slap him down, take that, just slap him way down, take that snatch block, hook to that chain. I'll just trap that dolly right there at the bucket. He'll be pulling from there.
A lot of physical labor involved, heavy items, all your matting's heavy. Just there's nothing light in the house moving industry, from chains to cables, binders, snatch blocks. you know, there's just nothing like. We've got it there.
Everybody has to be kind of in sync, coordinated, and so everyone else knows what everybody's doing. And that way you stay safe, you work smart.
But you know, if this plan doesn't work out, if you need to shave that bank further down there, you certainly can. There's nothing.
Yeah, no, this will work.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
We just couldn't get we couldn't get the trucks moved until we brought this machine in.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the right spot once we come up about another 30 feet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
I figured
it's
you
wanting
knew
to
what
suck
you were
us.
doing,
It's
but-
wanting to suck us over here.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was dry, we'd just reposition that truck. You know,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
This is going to work.
Okay.
We're going to get it.
Excellent.
And if you notice on that hill, there was a slight bend halfway up the hill. So we had to have one truck in one spot to get it halfway up. And then when it got there, we had to rearrange the trucks to pull it the different, you know, to make that 45-degree angle turn to get it up the rest of the way. We didn't have it exactly mapped out. We just knew we could do it and just had to start moving trucks around and make things happen.
More than anything, watching the move with modern equipment, watching how complex it was to get it back up onto the parade ground, I'm absolutely astounded at how they would have moved this house back in the late 1860s, early 1870s. They would have had to go at least 7 or 8 miles by a dirt road along the hillside, and how they accomplished that feat is something that I am now beginning to do research on how people moved houses in the mid-19th century. But it was an amazing effort of skills using the equipment they had in the early 1870s. So, you know, a whole new line of inquiry is beginning. Not only we need to establish the history of the house after it left Fort Hoskins, but also I'm hoping that we're going to uncover letters or diaries or family traditions of the people who moved this house to better understand what to me now seems like an incredible feat accomplished in the mid-19th century.
Well, getting it up the hill, once we are up the hill, it's a pretty level spot. So then just having it staked out exactly where they want it, then it's a matter of twisting and churning it a little bit to get exactly how they want it, make sure the customer likes it exactly, face the direction they want it.
Oh, we're getting awful close. They got about another 2 feet to go. They're getting the orientation right. This is really exciting. You know, to see this little house basically in its proper orientation to the hills behind and to the parade ground. And this is quite the moment. When we get the roof on there, that's when we break out the champagne.
That'll probably be.
I've also, you know, been reflecting, watching the modern move, and thinking about how they would have done it in the early 1870s. I have no clue why it seemed that it would be cost effective. It would have taken them days and maybe weeks to get it from here to Peedee if they went along the old Fort Road and the dirt roads of the day. And I don't understand why they simply, one, took the house apart piece by piece, and why they didn't rebuild the house if they wanted this house, or just why they didn't build with fresh lumber. I mean, I'm beginning to wonder that is there something to do with the fact that Phil Sheridan built the house, that Christopher Colin Auger, who became a well-known general during the Civil War, is it the historic association with this house that led these people to go to all these efforts to save the structure? And I think it had to be more than just simply, we want a house to live in. I think there's more to the story, and that's what we need to find out.
It's finally there. That's where she's going to sit. That's the right position for the crane to get in here and grab it and set it back on the building. So it's there after 2.5 muddy days.
Dr. Bronner is the person to basically single-handedly keep the house viable and knowledge about it out there and encouraging at every turn to save it and return it.
Yeah, I've been so involved with this site off and on since 1976, and when we were able to acquire the property for a county park, it was sort of like giving birth to another member of my family.
All the weight is on the crane. It gives us the freedom to adjust it and you know, slightly move it in to where it belongs so we can get it nailed in the right spot.
I've worked with some incredible people, from the private citizens to the county commissioners and county park employees. So it's been a wonderful experience, but it's been a journey of bringing this fort back to the public eye, basically opening up a chapter of history that was closed, that everybody forgot about, and getting an actual physical piece of that original fort. A building that was built by Phil Sheridan, a building that was occupied by some men who became well-known generals, officers during the Civil War. It's hard to describe the feeling of seeing this building back on the site, but the joy, there were a few times where watching this house slowly moving back onto the parade ground, I mean, it was very, very moving for me, and I know other people who've been involved in this project for quite a few years.